Hello everyone. Today we are going to look at how to create a simple ball bounce in Blender. So if you have never created animation, you will learn the basics of animation and how to create your first animation. We will be creating a ball bounce animation like this. It's a simple exercise. I will walk you through the interface, some basic principles of animation, and how to create and render the animation like this. So you can see that we will be covering two principles of animation here. One is squash and stretch. So as the ball hits the ground, it's going to stretch and then squish and stretch again before it becomes regular size. Okay. The second principle of animation we are going to learn is weights. So weight is you can feel that the ball has some kind of a weight to it, and we will learn how to create that. So we'll cover those two principles of animation. Okay. So if you start Blender, we will delete the default object and add a plane. So that will be a guide for us to where the ball is going to bounce. So I'll scale the plane a little bit, and then we will add a UV sphere. And if you look at the UV sphere, it has a radius of 1. Not really worried about the scale. It's 1 meters, but the unit is 1. So when I move this up onto the ground, if I hit the N key on the keyboard, or if I drag this around, we are going to move it by 1 in Z-axis, so it is exactly on the ground. Okay, so I'll hide that. And what we need to do is we need to go to the animation tab, so you will see the timeline here. All right, and right now there are 250 frames, so we will make that 100 frames. All right, and then you can zoom in there by the middle mouse button and drag. Okay, so you can see 1 to 100 stretched up there. Now this is your play head. So when you play the animation, this is the play button. So you will see that the playhead plays, and then whatever animations we create will be played. We need to set up keyframes for our ball for it to bounce. All right. So if you select the ball, then we are going to bring this up to move the ball up. Okay, and then we'll hit the N and we'll move it, say 8 units. Okay, if you hit the shift and middle mouse button, that is pan. Okay, or this button here, you have to left click, or if you have a mouse, then shift and middle mouse button will pan. All right, so now the ball is 8 units up or 8 meters up, and on the first frame I will turn this on, and then I will slide this and at 10 this will become 1. At 1 it becomes 8. We'll hit the I key to create the first keyframe on frame number 1 when the ball is in air, and when we go to frame number 10 we'll make this 1, and now the other keyframe is created and you can see the animation. So now the ball is hitting the ground after 10 frames. So at 20 frames the ball will bounce up, but this time it will go only 6 meters. Okay, so it loses some of its energy and bounces only 6 meters, and then we can select these keys and duplicate them and place it at 30 also. So you can also copy and paste keyframes in the timeline. So now you can see that the ball is bouncing up, then it goes little bit and comes down. So number 40, last time it went 6, so this time we will only move it 3 times. And at 50 again we can select this, shift T and paste it. Okay, so you can also type the frame number here so that you are exactly on that particular keyframe. So 60, now it will only bounce 1.5 times. Okay, and then 70, I will again make it 1, and that is where our animation ends. So what we have is, if you play the animation, okay, every time it loses its energy and then it comes to an end at 70. But you will see that I will make this window small so you can focus on this animation here. That the ball feels like it is floating in the air. It doesn't seem like it has weight. Okay, so we need to give the ball some weight. The other thing we will do is we'll go to object and make it shade smooth so the ball is smooth. Alright, so we have to go to graph editor. So if you click here, you can go to graph editor. Okay, and I'll make this window a little big so you can see what is happening here. So now our sphere is selected. Whatever is selected, you will see that information in the graph editor. These are the keyframes at 0, 10, 20, 30s and so on. Now I'll open the graph editor and then you will see that there is X. We can hide. See, now Z is the curve that we have to work on. X is not necessary, you can delete it. Y is not necessary, you can hit the delete key on the keyboard to delete it. So let us understand how these curves work. Right? So again, you can middle click and pan and zoom in. Anytime the curve is horizontal, that means the animation is slow in that part. And whenever the line is vertical, that means the animation is fast. So the object is moving slow, then it speeds up, and that it slows again. That is one of the principles of animation. Any object that moves will start moving slowly, and then it will pick up space. And slow out means before coming to a stop, the ball is going to slow down and then it will stop. Look at it like driving a car. When you're driving a car, it will pick up speed slowly and then it moves fast. And when you hit the brake, it doesn't immediately stop, but it slows down and then it comes to a stop. What we want to happen is when the ball is moving, okay, it is slow here and then it picks up pace, but then before it hits the ground, it is slowing down. That is not going to happen. What will happen is the ball will continue to travel fast and all of a sudden it will meet the ground and then it will bounce up. It will not slow down before that. So we need to change this curve so it doesn't slow down. So if you right click and if you go to the handle type, we'll make it vector. When you make the handle vector, you will see that the ball is traveling fast and all of a sudden it hits the ground and it bounces off again very fast, and then it goes up in the air and then it hangs up in the air for some time. So it's because of the force it is going up, but the gravity is pulling it down. So again it will try to go max, and then when the gravity pulls it down, it again picks up the speed, and again we have to do the same thing here. So we'll make it a vector and then same thing here, and then we will do the same thing in the last free vector. So now you can see that the ball is going to be slow, fast, hang up in the air, and let us see how that has affected our animation. Okay, so I'll go back and hit the play button, and now you can feel like the ball has weight to it. Alright, so that is another principle of animation, which what we talked about earlier, is giving weight to the object. One of the principles is slow in and slow out. And then the third principle we are going to look at is squish and stretch. So when the ball hits the ground, it is going to squish because of the force. And because the ball is soft and has air in it, the air is going to get compressed and it's going to squish. So we'll go to frame number 10 and we need to squish it. Now if we scale the ball, then the ball will lose its volume. It will become, if I scale it, it will become less in volume. We don't want that. So what we are going to do is we are going to add a constraint, maintain volume. Alright, so what the maintain volume constraint is going to do is we will squish it, okay, like this. So the ball is going to get squished, and then if you look at it in from the top, it has elongated along this axis, so we need it evenly. So we have to move out. Don't move it in, but move out because it is squishing. Okay, so you'll move out until it looks round. So now the ball has squished, and then we are going to move it to the ground because of, and then you can just eyeball it. So the ball is going to go to air, and then it's going to squish. Now the ball is squished at all the times. So what we'll do is just before it hits the ground, say at 9, it's going to stretch. Okay, so to give it the feeling of weight and speed, we will make it go stretch. Right, and if it is too much, you can stretch it down, so whatever you like, and then you will have to manipulate it in the X and Y so it looks like it is stretched. Okay, and because our auto key is on, it's going to record. So it is squished, it is stretched, and at 8 or 7 we will make it back to what it was. So we will just try 1 1 and 1 here. Alright, so at 7, so 0 to 7, the ball is round. At 9 it stretches, 10 it squishes. Okay, again at 9 we need to stretch it. So it will stretch here, and then we will make it round from top. Okay, and 11 13 it will again become 1 and 1 and 1. So the ball hits and then again becomes round, and then we have to do the same thing at 30, and then here it will squish less.